Hello, am I audible? Good morning. Okay, so let us start our class so that we can finish it early. So, in our previous class, we have discussed about soil and aggregate as road aggregate or material for the road construction. We have discussed about different tests of the soil and aggregate. So in this class we will discuss about bitumen as a construction material for the road. Generally, bituminous material is used as a surfacing force for the road construction, and generally it is used for the flexible pavement design. Now, bituminous material, or sometimes it is called as asphalt, are used for the roadway construction. So, beside this, there are different uses of bituminous material. In some cases, for the building construction, also they are used as a waterproofing material. Now, the main point is how the bitumen content is extracted. So, basically, that bitumen is the byproduct of the petroleum. Okay, so whenever that gas petroleum or crude oil is distilled, in that case, the byproduct is basically the bitumen. That is a black type sticky material. Okay, that is bitumen. Now there are different forms of bitumen. So first one is cut-baked bitumen. So in practice or in general temperature, that bitumen would be very much sticky, okay, and it would be like a semi-solid material. So whenever you are trying to mix the bitumen with the aggregate, in that case you need to heat the bitumen so that you can lower the viscosity of that material. Okay, and after that you can mix the bitumen with the aggregates or any other material, or you can use for spraying over any surface. But the thing is that heating process required a lot of energy, and it is also associated with the environmental pollutions and different hazardous conditions. Therefore, there is a form of bitumen that is called cut-baked bitumen. So in the cut-baked bitumen, what happens? You mix some volatile material with the bitumen content. Now, what are the volatile content material like your naphtha or petroleum or diesel? Petrol, diesel, etc. are your volatile material. Why volatile material? Because whenever they are in contact with the air, they evaporate. That's why it is called volatile material. Now in the cut-baked bitumen, what happens? You mix bitumen with this type of volatile material. So in the volatile material, that bitumen will get dissolved and the consistency of the bitumen will be get reduced, or the viscosity would be get reduced, and you can easily use this type of bitumen. Okay, and that is a ready made, and you do not have to heat the bitumen or process the bitumen in the infield. So this type of bitumen is called cut-baked bitumen. Now, whenever you spread this type of bitumen or cut-baked bitumen over any surface, what happens? After some time, that volatile material get dissolved in the air, and only bitumen content would be over there. And another important thing is, for the cut-baked bitumen, there is no curing time. That is, it can uh, cure very fast. Okay, for the other type of bitumen, suppose hot mix asphalt, whenever you have to heat the bitumen, in that case it take some time to cool it down and settle. But for the cut-baked bitumen, as the volatile material evaporates, as soon it will settle. Okay, now based on the volatile material, now some volatile material will evaporate very fast. Okay, or some volatile material will evaporates very slow. So based on the nature of the volatile material, there are three types of cut-baked bitumen, and it is called rapid curing, where the curing is very rapid. then medium curing, and slow curing. Now, rapid curing is recommended for surface tracing and patchwork because uh, if you use the rapid curing, in that case, the bitumen or the surface would be ready within few minutes. So, therefore, it would be very much easy. Now, another type of bitumen is there, or bitumen material is there, that is called a bitumen emulsion. Now, the thing is, what is emulsion? Now, bitumen emulsion is here, bitumen is mixed with water. Now, you know that bitumen cannot be mixed with water, bitumen is not dissolved in the water. So, how we can mix the bitumen with the water? So, in this case, another chemical is used, and that is called emulsifier liquid. Okay, so this emulsifier liquid will break the bitumen particle into small content. Okay, and it then helps the bitumen, small bitumen content, to do not settled over on the water. Okay, and it helps the bitumen particle to get uh, floated over the water surface, and that is called bitumen emulsion. So, bitumen emulsion is a liquid product in which bitumen is suspended in a finely divided condition in a aqueous medium. Finely divided condition means very small fraction, and in a aqueous medium means in a water content, and stabilized by suitable material. Stabilized by suitable material means it do not stabilize, or it do not settle in the water content. Now, normally cationic type of emulsion are used in India. There are different types of emulsion or emulsifier liquid, anionic or cationic, based on the electric charges. So generally cationic types of emulsifier liquids are used in India. Now the bitumen content in the emulsion is around 60% and remaining is the water. So whenever the emulsion is applied on the road, it breaks down, resulting in release of water, and the mix starts to set. So whenever you pour the emulsion over the road surface, in that case, whatever bond was there, that bond got destabilized and it breaks, resulting in the release of the water, and mix got settled after some time when the water got evaporates. Now there are three types of bitumen emulsions which are also available. It is called rapid setting, medium setting, and slow setting. Now another type of bituminous material is bituminous primers. Now in the bituminous primer, the distilled is absorbed by the road surface on which it is spread. So in the bituminous primers, where it is spread over the road surface. Okay, suppose one surface is provided over the road surface, some spray would be done. Sometimes you must have seen over the road construction. So this type of thing is called bitumen primers. Now, what is the purpose of the bitumen primers? So basically, bitumen primers helps to close all the holes over the road surface, and it will make the road surface so that water cannot penetrate through the road surface. Now, bituminous primers are useful on the stabilized surfaces and water-bound macadam base courses. Now, how it is prepared? It is prepared by mixing bitumen with the petroleum distillate. Then another type of bitumen is there, that is called modified bitumen. Now in the modified bitumen, different types of materials are added with the bitumen to increase the properties or modify the properties of the bitumen. Now there are different types of material which can be used with the bitumen, like polymer modified bitumen, where polymer or plastics are used. Then cram rubber modification modified bitumen, where some rubber materials are used with the bitumen to increase the different properties or modify different properties of the bitumen, or in some cases to reduce the cost of the construction for the bituminous material. Okay, these are the different types of bitumen content which are used in the road construction. Now another thing is, there are another type of material which is called your uh, here it is there, which is called tars. Okay, which is called tars. So tars are basically a form, or it is like a bituminous material, but the originations of the tars are different from the bitumen. See, these tars are originated or produced by destructive distillation of the different organic materials, and this is also a dark colored solid liquid, but the consistency or the viscosity would be lower than the normal bitumen. So it also has some adhesive properties and is soluble in carbon disulfide. Now tars are residues from the destructive destructive distillation of organic substances such as coal, wood, or petroleum, and are temperature sensitive than the bitumen. They are much more temperature sensitive than the bitumen. So bitumen will be dissolved in the petroleum oils, where tars will not be dissolved. It is soluble only in carbon disulfide. So basically these are the difference between tars and bitumens, where bitumen is the byproduct of the petroleum or crude oil, where the tars are originated from destructive distillations of the organic material like wood, coals, or petroleum. Now, next portion is requirement of the bitumen, or what are the different desirable properties of the bitumen. Now, the desirable properties of bitumen depend on the mix type and different type of construction in general. Now, these are the different desirable properties. First one is, the bitumen should not be highly temperature susceptible. Highly temperature susceptible means it should not be highly sensitive to the changes of the temperature. Now, during the hottest weather, the mix should not become too soft or unstable, and during the cold weather, it should not become brittle so as to causing any crack over the road surface. Now, the viscosity of the bitumen at the time of mixing and compaction should be adequate. Okay, this can be achieved by use of cutbacks or emulsions of suitable grades, or by heating the bitumen and aggregates prior to mixing. Now, one thing I want to add over here, that whenever you are heating the bitumen and mixing after it, in that case, that mix type is called hot mix asphalt. Or whenever you are using between emulsion or cutback bitumen, where heating is not required for the mixing, this type of bitumen is called cold mix asphalt. There should be adequate affinity and adhesion between the bitumen and aggregates used in the mix. So the mix properties, that is the bitumen and the aggregate, should be mixed properly. Okay, all the aggregates, whichever are bitumen, which are used for the construction, it should mix well with the aggregates. Now, to test the suitability of the bituminous material, there are different types of tests, and these tests are penetration test, ductility test, softening point test, specific gravity test, viscosity, flash and fire point, and float test. So let us discuss about this test. So first one is penetration test. So actually, after we complete the syllabus, this syllabus, after that we'll go for the detailing with all these tests. So let us discuss briefly about all these tests. The first one is penetration test. So in the penetration test, what happens? One mold would be there. Okay, in this mold you fill with the bitumen. So first, to fill it up, you first have to heat the bitumen. After heating, you just fill it up. Okay, and you let it over the place for cool down. Okay, after some times, what you have to do, you have to take the bitumen content in a water jar, and you will gradually increase the heat of that content, or you will make the temperature constant at 25 degrees Celsius with the help of the water bath. Now what happens, there would be one needle would be there. Okay, one needle would be there, and the weight of the needle would be like 100 gram, and you have to check that how much that needle is penetrating in the bitumen surface over 5 second time. Okay, over 5 second time. So basically, how much this needle is penetrating in the bituminous surface, that is your penetration value. So with the help of this penetration test, we actually get to know the grade of the bitumen. For example, suppose a bitumen content, or the penetration value of a bitumen content is 45. So in that case, 45 millimeter, in that case we will say that the bitumen is at a grade of 40 to 50. Okay, so these are the different types of grade, like 40 to 50 grade, 50 to 60 grade, 70 to 80 grade, 90 to 100 grade, like that. Now as the grade increases, it means that the penetration in the bitumen is higher than the lower grades. Okay, so for these reasons, what happens, if the grade is higher, in that case it would be very much susceptible to the temperature changes. Okay, it would be very much sensitive toward the high temperature. That's why the penetration value in that type of bitumen is higher. So for this reason, in the hot weather, generally the bitumen content with lower grades are used. Okay, so this is penetration test. So another test is ductility test. Now, in the ductility test, what happens? One briquette would be there, or one mold would be there. This mold would be shaped something like that, and here one breaking point would be there, and it would be continue like that. Okay, so basically, this total mold would be in different fraction, or it would be part by part, and you have to add up all these parts. So after that, you have to fill the bitumen content over the surface, or over the gap portions. Okay, you will fill it up with the bitumen content and attach it with the machine. So in the machines, there would be one water bath. In the ductility testing machine, there would be one water bath which will maintain the temperature at 27 degrees Celsius. And when you start the instrument, in that case, the instrument will pull up the two sides of the briquette. Okay, so if you pull this up, in that case, what happens, that bitumen content over here will get elongated and it would be like shaped like this. Okay, it will be get elongated, but after some times what happens, that will be this bitumen content over the middle section will be breakdown. Okay, it would be breakdown after sometimes. So basically your ductility uh, is the length of the bitumen before just breaking. That is the how much it can take the load before breaking. That is the ductility. So that is very simple test. So the ductility value gets affected by factors such as pouring temperature, test temperature, rate of cooling, etc. Now a minimum ductility value of 75 centimeter has been specified by the standard test. Now another test is there that is called softening point test, that is also very important. Now as the name suggests, softening point test is the test to find out the temperature when the bitumen content softens. Okay, so that test is also important because until the bitumen content softens, you do not know about where this bitumen type of bitumen have to be used. Okay, suppose a bitumen content softens at 30 degrees Celsius. In that case, you cannot that bitumen content in the Assam regions or any other regions where hot climax is there. Okay, because in the summer season, the temperature easily go up to 35 to 40 degrees Celsius. So in such cases, if the bitumen content softens in 30 degrees Celsius, in that case, it would be not good to use that type of bitumen in this type of weather. So therefore, softening point test is very much important test. So this softening point test is often called ring and ball test because there would be one metal plate over here, some ring would be there, and over the ring you will place some ball. So therefore, this test is called ring and ball test. So basically, what happens, there would be some metal plate would be there, and in the metal plate, in both sides, there would be some hole, and over the hole, you place one ring. One ring would be placed, and over this ring, you will fill this ring with the bitumen content. Okay, and above this, you will put two small steel balls or iron balls over that place. Now, this total assembly would be put over a test jar filled with water, and you will gradually increase the temperature of the water. Now, one thermometer would be attached with that assembly to note down the temperature of this total assembly. Now, softening point is that point when that that bitumen content with the steel ball will touches the bottom portions of the test jar. Okay, so at certain temperature, whenever you increase the temperature at a certain rate, so after some point, what will happen? The bitumen get softens and the bitumen content with the steel ball will be uh, touch to the bottom portions of the testing jar. So that temperature is basically your softening point. So another test is specific gravity test. So you can check the specific gravity by picnometer test. So specific by the specific gravity, you will get to know or get have an idea about the density properties of the bitumen. Now the density of the bitumen is greatly influenced by its chemical composition, and the specific gravity of the bitumen is defined as the ratio of mass of given volume of the bitumen to the known content to the mass of equal volume of water at 27 degrees Celsius. Now another test is viscosity test. So basically what happens is that viscosity test is also important. So we have discussed about the penetration test now and how grades are determined based on the penetration test. So basically the grades determined by penetration test, that was an old method, but now that penetration grade bitumen is not used anymore. That is, now that grading of the bitumen is not done with the help of that penetration test, rather the grading of the bitumen is done with the viscosity test, and that's why now the grading is called viscous grade bitumen. Now there are different types of tests to check the viscosity of the bitumen, and all these tests are basically the indirect test to get a rough idea about the viscosity of the bitumen. So in this type of test, what happens? There will be similar type of your indirect test. So there will be one briquette, okay, and in the briquette there will be a one small notch, and bitumen content would be filled over here, and gradually you increase the temperature, and when the bitumen content softened at particular temperature, you will remove that lid, and whenever you remove that lid, what will happen? The bitumen content will float in the downward side. Then in the beneath portion, there will be one measuring jar where you will measure the content of the bitumen, and there will be some standard value. So you have to note down the time where viscosity is determined with the help of the time. That is how much time is required to fill that jar at a certain height. That time is basically used to find out the viscosity of the bitumen. Now, another type of test is there, that is called flash and fire point test. Now, these flash and fire point tests are very much important. Why important? Basically, these two tests are very much important to avoid any hazardous conditions. Now, another thing as a flash and fire point. So, flash point and fire point are basically two temperature. Okay, so basically these are two temperature. Now, in this temperature, what happens? Flash point is the temperature where suppose you are heating a bitumen content. So whenever you are heating a bitumen content, so in that case some gases or will be evaporate from it. So flash point is the temperature when you touches any or you are near any fire sources that evaporates gases will momentarily catch that fire. Okay, that point is basically your flash point. Now, fire point is suppose that bitumen content you are again you are heated that bitumen content beyond the flash point. So at some interval of this time or at some time, what will happen? That whatever gases are evaporates, if you near any fire sources near to it, in that case that evaporated gases will catch the fire and it will burn. So that point is basically fire point. So these are the flash and fire point. So basically these two are the temperature tests. So another type is your float test. Now, normally the consistency of bitumen material can be measured either by penetration test or viscosity test, but for certain range of consistencies, these tests are not applicable and float test is used. So basically, float test is used to know the consistency of the bitumen. So here the apparatus consists of an aluminium float and a brass collar filled with bitumen to be tested. So here what happens, one jar would be there that would be filled with water. Over there one aluminium plate would be there. Over that you place and over there some hole would be there. Okay, so over this hole, you fill it up with the bitumen content and you gradually increase the temperature of the water bath. So at certain temperature, what happens that water bath will be penetrated or water will penetrated through the bitumen or bitumen content will be coming out over there. So basically with this thing you need to record the temperature of that event, and basically that is your float test. Then water content test. So water content test is conducted to know the content of the water, if any, present in the bitumen content. So it is recommended that the water content should not be more than 0.2% by weight of the bitumen. Then another test is there that is called loss on heating test. So whenever you gradually increase the heat of the bitumen or you gradually go for a cycle of heating and cooling, in that case some weight of the bitumen would be lost. So basically loss of heating test is the test to know how much percentage of the weight that bitumen content losses because of the heating and your cooling cycles. Okay, so basically, bitumen used in pavement mixes should not indicate more than 1% loss in weight, but for bitumen having penetration values 150 to 200, up to 2% loss of weight is allowed. So these are the loss of heating test. Now these are different types of tests and these are the experimental methods which you have to follow. These are different Indian standard codes. So this is all about this class. Is it clear?